Just wait for you to finish your yawn there. Hello and welcome back to the Two Mums Club.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot couple of months.
It's actually been 2 months since I just checked, 16th of July was the last time we did it, episode 4.
Wow, so an actual solid 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
How's things?
Well, a lot's happened, hasn't it, since our last pod?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a hectic couple of months, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I literally had to just look through what our last podcast was about as well, because there's so much that we haven't updated everybody on. It's like, where do we even start? But I think the last thing we did was the 30-day countdown. I feel like I'm talking really quietly because the kids are in bed.
You are talking very quietly. You also sat very far back, so my voice is going to sound louder than yours. ASMR.
I'm conscious the kids are in bed, so I'm trying to be loud but quiet. So, yeah. My birthday countdown. That was the last thing I think we talked about.
Oh, we actually spoke about that.
We should probably have listened to the podcast before actually doing another one, really, shouldn't we? You did mention that, but our podcasts are quite long.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you 30 seconds to do a recap of your birthday. 1, 2, 3, go.
What, recap of what we did?
You've lost 10 seconds, go.
So we did 30 days countdown to my birthday. Every single day I had to open a present until I turned 30. I went to go and see Becky Hill at Newmarket Racecourse, and it was really good. Won on our bet, won about £100. Then I came home, and then we stayed at an Airbnb, which is the weirdest experience ever. And then after that, it was Harley's birthday, and what did we do?
We went on holiday, so she didn't have a party or anything, did she?
Yeah, she turned 9. And we also watched the Euros on my actual birthday, which was another experience. And
a bottomless
brunch.
Yeah, that's probably more than 30 seconds.
I think I did quite well there.
So let's actually properly talk about that. So we did the 30 days of 30, which everyone followed along with on our TikTok channel, on my TikTok channel, which the current handle is at the Fizzy Friend. Can't tell you if it'll stay as that because I like to change them around, keep it spicy. So yeah, so it's all on there, the 30 days of 30. And then when your actual birthday came around, you had kind of money and presents off families and friends. Because you'd already opened everything off me.
Yeah.
So then we travelled to your mum's house and we did a bottomless brunch with your sister and a few friends. And then we watched the Euros, like you said.
Yeah, so the original plan, don't laugh, guys.
Oh, we did speak about this because I remember saying this.
We was going to go bowling, breezy bowling. But then we didn't know what time to book because obviously England were playing in the Euros.
We didn't know.
But we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't know whether they got through to the final. And then when we found out that they had got through to the final, it worked out that we had bottomless brunch at about 1. Yeah, about 1 o'clock. But they was kicking off on the earlier match at 5. So we thought there'd be no time to go bowling and then go find somewhere to watch the match. So
we rang bowling and checked if they had TVs in there.
Yeah.
And because it was like an 03 number, they cost me £7 for the conversation for me to ask them if they've got TVs in their bowling.
And after that, they didn't even have a TV. Didn't even have a screen there.
I wouldn't have minded if they did.
And they thought it was like a stupid question, but actually I thought it was quite valid. So then we rang the pub to see whether, because it's like a sports bar where we had the bottomless brunch. We thought if we could stay there in like one of the little booths, because they've all got screens, then that'd be ideal. We could just have a few drinks there and then watch the match. But you had the weirdest experience ringing them up, didn't you?
Yeah, it's proper weird with me.
Trying to book that booth. But anyway, we managed to stay there all day. Had a few drinks, and then by the time it was the match, we were smashed, weren't we?
Yeah. Pretty drunk, and it got very busy very quick.
Got quite rowdy, yeah.
Yeah, and throughout the day we'd kind of been doing like challenges, like sounds really immature because it was your 30th birthday, but we had like little envelopes with like different challenges in, and I got one to go round and high five as many people as I could, and then all of a sudden about 300 people were in this pub ready to watch the football, and lo and behold, one of the other girls whacks it out and goes, "There you go, off you go now." So I had to do it when it got really busy. I wish I'd have done it earlier in the day when there's about 10 people in there.
Yeah, but it was so funny though because it was towards the end of the night, wasn't it? Was it just before kickoff or something?
It was just before kickoff.
Yeah, so no one was really interested in it because there were so many people. You was gone for about 5 minutes, and then when you came back, it was like, guys, Did you see how many people I high-fived?
No, I had to do it in like 90 seconds, but I was gone for so long because I couldn't get back because the pub was so busy. And I high-fived so many people, but we was down south, so like near London. And the amount of people that just looked at me when I high-fived them like I was stupid, as if like, why are you touching me, you cretin? And up north, everyone would be freaking following me around, doing it with me.
Conga.
Yeah, we'd be in the conga. Down south, everyone was looking like I had 5 eyes.
It was just so fun when you came back to the table and you were so proud of yourself and we all just forgot what you was doing.
Yeah, no one even noticed I was gone. It was like, oh, where have you been? I was like, doing my high fives. To be fair, Georgia came with me. She counted it. You can always trust Georgia.
Always.
She counted my high fives. I think I got like 70. I did pretty well. I consider it was like in 90 seconds. Yeah, that was a good day.
But it was so fun. Do you remember when did it go to penalties? Yeah, it went to penalties, didn't it?
Yes.
And Georgia was sat next to me, and it was, oh my god, it feels like so long ago now.
It was like neck on
France,
neck.
was it?
Yeah, it was drawing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I said, I think Saka took it, and then I said to Georgia, so if we get this in, have we won? And she was like, no.
Yeah.
Did it go through? Oh, I'm a bit confused now.
It went to penalties and all 5 happened and there was drawing. It was like neck on neck.
I think it was the semis. I don't think it was the final.
I think it wasn't the semis. It wasn't the final.
So
sorry.
I said if they score this one, will they be through to the finals? And she was like, no, they've got to get this one in, but then France or whoever have got to get it in after that. So I was like, right, okay. So we were sitting tight. Saka got it in, and I'm just sat there, and everyone's like videoing it. Everyone's jumping up on the tables, like absolutely celebrating, and I'm there like, what's going on? George said they've got one more, and then it was like, no, we've done it, we're through. So then I was like, oh my god. So I got jumping up on the tables, and then I think someone was like lobbing beers everywhere, so then I was absolutely drenched.
Considering that like an hour before it was absolutely dead in there. Yeah, there was like one of a bottomless bunch in there.
2 tables.
Like I think somebody who knew you as a child came in and they was like, oh, happy birthday, we're off to a festival, something like that.
Yeah.
Like some kind of art festival. And then all of a sudden it was really busy. Obviously everyone loves the Euros. And yeah, it was hectic. It was a good day though. Really good day. And you did really well at your birthday as well, didn't you? Because your mum arranged like a little party at her house.
Yeah, that was cute.
Like a garden party in the summer, which was lovely. So we saw lots of family.
Nice Costco buffet. Costco cake. Can't be a Costco cake.
No, you can't. I had to go and pick it up. Well, I was passenger picking it up. Yeah, it was lovely. Did you have a good birthday?
Yeah, I loved it. And then we went to see Becky Hill, didn't we?
Yeah.
At Newmarket Racecourse. And I've never been to the races before, so that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, I will say I preferred the races to watching Becky Hill. I will be honest.
We had a bit of an experience, always.
I don't know. She was good, but she just repeated herself quite a few times.
Her songs are very similar, and she did repeat her songs. I noticed that as well.
She sang multiple songs multiple times, so like at least 4 of her songs she sang twice.
She's very good at singing live, though.
Yeah, she did have a good voice.
But then we nearly had a fight with someone.
We nearly had a fight with an old lady because she pushed me.
Oh, she was vile. She was like, think of like a really, really snobby old tart. That's who it was. And she was like purposely pushing us, like to get a reaction.
But like dancing and bumping into us, like dancing like how you imagine like maybe like a 13 or 14-year-old would do at a party. With the mates, like jumping around,
showing
dancing.
Off in front of them, like, this is a good idea. Watch their reactions. I keep pushing them. But the more she did it, the more annoying it was. But other people were clocking onto it, and they were like, "Do you want to leave them alone?" And then, but when
was she calling us?
I think she just called
cheap children.
Cheap children.
Oh, look at these cheap children. I was like.
And then she turned around and just started like snogging the face of her husband. I was like, ugh.
And when we say like an older lady, we mean like at least 70, like.
Yeah,
like
with like a face full of makeup,
fur coat, no knickers type.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, yeah, it didn't ruin the day. We still had a brilliant day.
Yeah. And then we had to wait for a taxi for about 2 hours, just sat on the field, and then we turned back up the Airbnb, which was the weirdest experience. It's this woman. Oh, I was going to say her name then, probably shouldn't. The weirdest setup. It was like a cottage. But it was. Did you feel like
it wasn't even like
step
cottage.
You took?
It was an actual cottage, like something out of like The Holiday, like a really old-fashioned style, full wooden beams running through the house cottage.
Every step I took, I thought the floorboards was going to fall through.
But like the 3 little pigs, and like one of them's made of wood, and if you blow it, it'll blow away. It was like that.
And we was in a room with Georgia, weren't we? We had to do it on last minute because she surprised me as well. Georgia turned up. and we had a double bed, and then obviously Georgia was in the single bed. It was the most rickety bed I've ever stayed in. And then behind us in the room next door was her daughter that was in there.
Her? She was in there?
She was in there.
Yeah. So we went into the house and we've pulled up at the house and Georgia drove, so she's parked outside and it's like a big driveway that walked up to this house. So it's like a proper like country farmhouse type house. It wasn't in the middle of nowhere. It was in like this little village. It was lovely, the area. And the house to look at from the outside was lovely. We walked up this long driveway and there's a dog. Like there's just this dog running around and I was like, does this dog live here? Like, is it staying here with us? Not realising we were staying there with her. So it was her home and we just slept in her spare bedroom. So you kind of went into the middle of the house and like had the stairs kind of curled round on themselves. To the right was like a dining area, kitchenette type.
Which we didn't even see.
No, a dining area kitchen thing. And to the left was like a shut door. So I'm guessing that was like her living room where like she lives, that her part of the house. But then when you went upstairs, it kind of again opened up like over a balcony. And to the right was where we were. And our room was like a big double room, like we said, with a double bed and an extra single in there. And it had like 2 more doors inside the room. One of them was locked, so we couldn't get into it. I assume it's like an airing cupboard, something like that. The other one led to another set of stairs that went down the other side of the house and another door. So we went, obviously being nosy, because you're like, well, I'm here as an Airbnb guest, and this door is in my bedroom. So we thought it was like an ensuite or like an extra room behind the back of the thing. Like we was like, oh, what's in here? I walked in, oh no, it was her bedroom. Like her laptop and her iPad were set up in there, like all of her clothes. It was where she sleeps. And I don't know if it's where she usually sleeps or when she sleeps when her Airbnb guests are there, so she can listen in and make sure they're up to know, like they're not doing anything wrong.
She won't be watching Gladiators at 7 o'clock in the
morning.
She woke
up so early. Gladiators, are you ready? She was an old lady as well.
I know.
Yeah, that was bizarre. So obviously the stairs must have led down to what I think would have gone down to the kitchen, and her bedroom was literally like the wall between us with no lock on our bedroom door, and our bedroom led into her bedroom.
That was what I thought was really weird.
Yeah. There was another bedroom on the other side of like the landing where the main bathroom was. And the main bathroom was just like toilet, sink, bath, like just your standard household bathroom. But it was her bathroom, so like her soaps and her shampoos and things were around the bath.
Yeah, and it was like cobwebs and like moths everywhere.
Yeah, in the bathroom it was. The house itself was clean. Like I would say it was clean. It was just very old and rickety. Yeah. But for what we paid, it was okay, and it was a bed for the night, and we were safe, and she was nice.
Yeah, seeing as we didn't think we'd be able to stay over, it did for the night.
Yeah, she was lovely. She was very friendly, and then she started telling us about all of her other guests, and we said to her, is this your home then? Like, do you actually just rent out your home? She's like, oh yes, I've had guests from everywhere that come to the races and come to the concerts, and I love seeing you young ones enjoying yourself.
Girls like you are the best. You're my favourite kind of guests. I'm like, all right, cheers, babe.
Yeah, bless her. So she was very nice. It's just the house was a little bit
It was an experience, yeah.
Not what we're used to.
Yeah.
Right, what's next?
What happened after that? It kind of merged into the summer holidays then, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And we had a tricky, as the kids would say, a tricky end to term with the littlest. We had a few issues that we won't go into because it's actually probably boring for everybody else with her at school. And
she ended up finishing a little bit early,
ultimately we moved schools, didn't we? So we did like a really quick school move. She went to the same, so she was at a different school to the older two, and then we moved her to that same school, and they've been fantastic with us. They've been really, really supportive as like in terms of putting support in place, but also with us as a family, like really helpful when we've needed the help or when we just needed someone to moan to. They've listened, and they kind of feel like friends, don't they, at this point?
Yeah,
like the staff have been really, really good there.
You can just walk in and have a couple with them.
Yeah. And so we moved her over to the same school, and they've been asking us for a while, are you going to do that? And we was like, no, she's fine at her school, and for how she's getting on, we needed her to just be fine. We needed her to be at least coping, to be managing school. So eventually there was this little issue that went on, and it wasn't resolved properly in her old school, so we had a really, really quick school move. And I mean, within the week she was in the new school.
Yeah, I was going to say about a week. Yeah.
We got pushed right through admissions because obviously nobody's changing schools right at the end of term like that, so admissions itself was relatively quiet. So she started a new school. She had 2 weeks left of term, so I've just put my hand on my back and it's bleeding.
Ew.
I must have scratched it.
Have you been itching it?
I don't remember itching it. I must have scratched it. I'm just gonna wipe that on my trousers for later. I'll get a plaster in a minute. So we had 2 weeks, and we was going to use that as a transition to get her ready to go into her next year group. And then she did about a week at school. and just was not coping. Her behaviour was just out of the roof, like so not coping. We were speaking to school, and I think maybe on the Friday I went into school and we couldn't get her out of the house. She was refusing to leave the house, wouldn't get dressed, wouldn't do any of her jobs in the morning, wouldn't let us put a brush through her hair, which she doesn't like having done at the best of the time, but just really she was telling us no with her behaviour, and we was like, right, okay, we need to do something about this. Went to school agreed that they was basically happy for her to finish a week early. They was like, end of term anyway, she's new at the school, let's just start again in September and we'll figure it out then. So we had a pretty tricky end to term then, didn't we?
Yeah,
so then it rolled into some holidays.
Yeah, as soon as she was home, it was a lot better, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that week we had her off at home. It was like somebody had turned the switch off and she was absolutely great. Like, she had a really nice time at home with us, 2-on-1, as in 2 adults to 1 child. Summer started. I can't really remember what we did with Summer. I think we were still working.
What we did was, when the last day that the girls broke up from school, we cracked open their money pots. We told them about Disney.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Because that was a separate video, but we've not done a podcast about it, have we?
No, we haven't.
So what we did was, the girls all have their own individual money pots, and each week they put their... Sorry guys, just interrupt you. We've literally bought a bunny 2 days ago and she's getting a bit
confident.
Yeah, she's going out of her comfort zone. She's hopping around. She's only 8 weeks old.
Not only did she just hop around, she just hopped so hard that she hopped right into the other side of her little pen.
She's so cute. Anyway,
money pots.
So they do like little chores and stuff to get pocket money each week, and they knew that they were saving for holiday, but they didn't know what holiday it was. They had no idea.
No, they told us they were saving to take themselves to Disney. They was like, we're saving because we want to help you to pay for Disney, because we said to them, if we want to go to Disney, it's very expensive. Mm-hmm. So then, bless them, they was like, we're going to save as well and help pay for it. So sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so then we picked them up from school, came home, and the deal was that we would crack open their money pots. I can't believe how much they managed to actually save in a year. Actually just over a year, I think it was. I think Harley saved about £600, was it? Mm-hmm. And then the other two saved probably about £400, I think it was, each.
Well, then he saved a little bit less.
Yeah, and then we converted all of that to dollars. I think the following day, I think it was, they took all of their money to the post office or Eurochange or something, and they got it all exchanged into dollars for their, and then that was all their spending money then for Florida.
Just pause there. Just a little tip, guys. Don't look online at the websites and look at the rates for each of those companies, because they tell you the rates are better online than what actually you get in store. And obviously the rates change each day. So even if you've looked the night before online and you feel like it's a good rate and you go the next day, it could be different anyway. And a lot of the time you've got to spend a certain amount of money to get that rate. So we went to the post office. We then went to Tesco with Halia. Mm-hmm. She changed hers at Tesco and the rate online was way higher than it was on the day. So then I said to Becky, I'm not doing the other two here as well, because they've already got less money. So we want to get the best conversion rate we can, to at least so that it'll convert better into dollars. So then I looked online again, obviously didn't realise at the time that I was making that mistake. And we went to Eurochange. And I said to the woman, this is your rate online. So she agreed to give us that rate if we spent over £1,000. Luckily, they'd spent, or maybe over £800 it might have been. They'd saved enough between them to combine their money, and then we just split it down the middle. Because also we added some extra money for Lenny as well, didn't we?
Yeah, because the other two had birthdays since then, so they put their birthday money in the pot, whereas it was a bit unfair on Lenny because she hadn't had a birthday because she's later on in the year. So we asked her, we said, you can either take less or you can take the same amount as your sisters and we'll put money in, and then when it comes to your birthday, then you can just pay us back. Because we wanted to teach her about that responsibility as well, and she agreed to do that. So that's what we'll do this year. But yeah, we didn't actually go straight in and they opened their money pots. What we actually did was did a bit of a treasure hunt. So when they came back from school, we said, right, go and get your money pots, which we always leave on the windowsill. And we had a little note there saying, I can't even remember what it said now. Was it like, so we've taken your money pot.
Can you guess who I am? Yeah, so
it's
as if it was written by Mickey Mouse.
So then they went to go and get the money pots, and obviously they saw that note, and then it led to another clue. Then they was all scattered around the house, lots of different clues. We have actually videoed it. I think it's on YouTube if you did want to see it.
It's either YouTube or TikTok.
Yeah, Two Mums Club. And then it all led into the lounge, and in the lounge was their money pots and like a Disney ticket and a big balloon arch and Mickey Mouse. And yeah, they were so excited, weren't they?
So excited.
Yeah, it was really nice. And then we walked down to the pub. We all had dinner at the pub. Levi did some amazing like Florida information packs for them, because they all need like social stories and preparations if we're going anywhere different or it's a bit of a change in routine. And yeah, it was full on, but they loved it, didn't they?
Yeah,
and then the countdown was on then, wasn't it?
Yeah, we made them T-shirts as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
That said my first Disney trip.
Yeah.
So we put them in there because we gave them like a little Minnie Mouse bag that had a T-shirt in, a water bottle and like a few little bits. We was going to do a bit of a countdown with them as well, but when we actually started it, it became a bit overwhelming, didn't it? And they couldn't cope with it. It's kind of, they couldn't figure out how to manage the emotion of being excited for the holiday as well as being excited for the gift, and it kind of came out in the wrong way. So then we kind of felt like we was overloading them, and we was trying to make it special, and actually we, as parents, we hold our hands up. It was too much for them.
We just packed it all in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, so packed it and gave it to them when we got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lovely night, wasn't it? It was really special, and I think it's going to be one of those key memories that you remember for the rest of your life, like the day that we told them about it and how that went down. And they was all so well behaved and so grateful, wasn't they? It was so lovely. Like you obviously expect, or not even expect, but you would like your children to be grateful, and you've worked so hard to save up for that holiday that you're like, oh gosh, I really hope this goes well, and it really did. It was really special. Yeah. So then that gave us about a month maybe until we went on holiday.
Yeah.
So those 4 weeks flew by over summer. It was lovely. We had a really good summer this year. Probably, we said it in May as well, May half term, but those 2 school holidays, May half term and summer holidays this year have been great.
Considering we didn't do like camping or caravan site or anything this year, which we usually do.
Yeah, we love a campsite.
We thought that might not cause an issue, but we thought maybe
it breaks it up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it breaks it up. So then we thought
it's hard summer holidays when it's such a long time with like all of us together, and we haven't got any plans that we can talk to them about. So as soon as that secret was out, it was so much easier, so we could all talk about that, show them videos about it, vlogs, and
but also so we could explain why we wasn't doing those other things, because we've got family all over the country. So usually we'll go and stay in a caravan and then see family also there, or we'll go like camping. And then because those plans weren't in place, the girls were like, oh, I wonder if we're going to go to camping this year. And they kept saying it, and we was like, oh, well, we don't know. And we don't like doing the whole we don't know, because it makes them all feel anxious. They all get kind of quite worked up and then repeat themselves a million times. So it's better to just give a definitive yes or no. And even if it's a no, they actually cope better with that than the don't knows, because it's left on like that open-ended I don't know, you just struggle with. So I didn't want to say no, because I knew that then there would be lots of whys. So I was like, let's figure this out. So then we worked out that once we told them, we was able to actually say to them then, this is the reason we're not doing this year. We want to save all of our money to make sure our trip's extra special. And they also got on the chin, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we did a few like sports camps, kind of social skills type clubs, and they did music camps.
They went to my mum's for about a week, didn't we?
Yeah, they did. What were the camp? Art camp, multi-sports, some kind of just activity ones. One's in school where they're more like it's like an after school type club, but all day. Amelia did acro, she did gymnastics, football. So they did loads of different like activity type days over the summer through like local schemes and clubs and stuff. And then we went to your mum's. So you want to talk?
It's usually a week, I think, but I don't know if it was that long this time.
I think we normally go for we used to go for like 2 weeks, because obviously we lived up north and we never saw them, so we'd spend a solid 2 weeks with them.
We went to Southend, we went to Adventure Island, and it's mad because a couple of years ago, obviously Harlia went on Rage, which is the biggest roller coaster there, for the first time, and was like, oh my god, like her first proper roller coaster. And then this year Lenny was big enough and we was like, yay. And then we was like, do you know what, Rage is going to be such a small ride compared to all of the rides in Florida. And then we was actually really worried about it. It was like, if they're going to be scared about this ride, then how are they actually going to cope with all these big rides? But yeah, they all absolutely loved it, didn't they?
They loved it, yeah. And it's funny actually, because finally Lenny was tall enough to go on the big roller coaster, so we was like, oh, she's going to be big enough for Florida, and we've been measuring her and keeping her on top of it, because a lot of the bigger rides were 122.
Yes.
And she's 120. So we did the age-old trick of buying some platform Converse to get her on the rides, see if she was tall enough. Obviously, any that kind of are the ones that don't go over your shoulders, I wouldn't let any of the children go anyway, regardless. Even Lenny being under the height, I just wouldn't have let them go on them, which are most of the bigger ones at Universal. But like things like Hagrid's, where she's like sat in a little car and she's next to you, so you know she can't go anywhere regardless. And I'm like, oh, it's tight because she's so close to getting on it. And And yeah, it worked at Southend, and then we went to there, and there was a few that she got denied for, and that kid was not happy. Plus, on a couple of the occasions, she actually took it on the chin, didn't she, when we stayed with her. If we stayed with her and we did the child swap, she was fine. But it's when we did the child swap and then we went on the ride and she had to stay with the rest of our group, she'd be a little bugger, and she'd let them know she wasn't happy that they'd all been on that ride without her. Which is fair enough, because I'm sure we would have all behaved that way as a child and been like, I'm not happy that I didn't get to go on it. By the end of the holiday, I'm pretty sure she'd shrunk in the heat, because we was all so hot in the holiday that I think genuinely her spine compressed, and she was about a centimetre shorter than when we went. So she was like a full centimetre underneath, even with her platform Converse on.
Let's get all the good rides done at the very beginning of the
at the
day.
start of every day, when we knew she'd like been stretched out in bed, we was like, right, get the big rides done now to see if she's big enough. And then we went on to Hagrid's, and we measured her beforehand, and she was under the thing. We was like, she's not going to get on, so we put a pair of socks in her shoes. Don't tell them. And it worked.
It was so cute. The whole queue was like gripping the teeth, like, oh, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Because all the workers were clearly eyeing her up, and we did an inside out plait as well. So it was like just a little bit higher on her head, and the first person was like, yep, she's done it. And we all was like, yeah. And then the whole queue was like, yeah.
I picked her up and threw her in the air. So everyone was turning around like, oh, it must be her first big ride. Like really happy for us, because everyone was eyeing her up being like, oh my gosh, she's so small, as if she's brave enough to go on this ride.
Yeah, people behind was like, I'm so excited that this is your first ride. Like Hagrid's is such a good one as well to start with. But then there was like, but just so you know, like the last cast member who's on the ride has the last say. So we was all like really like anxious getting to the front, and we kind of just like sneaked her past us, and then obviously they clocked on. I was like, excuse me, can we measure her please? I was like, oh no. We was all silent, weren't we?
When I say we held our breath for a solid minute while there was like two of them was deciding between them whether she was there, and eventually
she was trying so hard to stand up.
I've never seen a child be so well behaved in all of my life. She stretched every bone in that body to put her head on that wood, and it did touch. It actually was touching, and then the woman was like, okay, she can go on, and everyone was clapping. It was just the cutest, like most magical moment. But yeah, anyway, I jumped ahead there. I jumped straight into holiday, but
but I guess it's still talking about the rides. Yeah, so that was it. Then we went to Adventure Island, we came home, and then before we knew it was time to pack and get all sorted and stuff.
Adventure Island was a good day. I enjoyed that day. I would say that they need to work on their accessibility and their training around that. There was a few issues that happened that day, if you remember.
Yeah. So it was a very new thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So last time we went, so we didn't go last year. We skipped it a year because we go every year, and we'd got a bit, not bored of it, but it was a bit like, you know what to expect, and we was like, should we try something different? So I think we did Legoland last year, and we said we want to do Legoland whilst the children are still small enough. Like, it's funny because obviously you're usually trying to go to the big ones with that, but we've never done it. Let's try Legoland. So we did that, and then this year we went back to Southend because we wanted to see with the bigger rides if she'd be big enough. And then when I got there, I spoke to the person and I said the heights of the children, they had to get like specific stamps, coloured stamps on their hand to say which one they was tall enough for, so that they don't have to get measured at the start of every ride. So the person that works there looks at the colour stamp and knows if they can go on or not, which is a good programme. We was given the go-ahead for every ride except one. Now, Harley likes to know exactly what she can and cannot do. She needs the black and white of it. So we're going around all day, and we saved a particular ride. It's like a fast ride, but it wasn't a big ride towards the end. And she was done. She was overwhelmed. It was too noisy for her. She was getting really worked up. And we was like, do you want to go to that one last ride and then we'll make a move? Yeah. And she had it in her little head that she was going on this ride and that she had one more in her that she could do. Bearing in mind at this point, she's in the pushchair. She's got her ear defenders on. She's not feeling okay. She was white in the face. You could tell she was done. She wanted to go home and cuddle up. And we got to the ride and the person said to her, how old are you? And she said 9. And they was like, you've got to be 10 or 138, like a really specific number to go on this ride. And Harley looked at me and her eyes pricked up, bottom lip came out. And I was like, sorry, can you just say that again? So he said it again. And I was like, that seems very specific. I said, what if you have a small 10-year-old or like a tall 9-year-old? Why 10? Like, why the age? Why not just the height? And he was like, oh, it's just requirement. And I was like, I understand that. I said, but at the beginning of the park, we was told all the rides and the only one we couldn't go on was this other one. And he was like, oh, nothing we can do, I can't let you on. And I was like, okay, fine. I said, just want to pass that on as feedback, that you shouldn't be telling your guests with disabilities that they can then go on the rides. And he was like, oh yeah, that's fine, no worries. And I wasn't rude about it. And he was a kid, he was about 17 or 18, he was an all right lad. But the security come bouncing over as if they was going to, like, I don't know what they thought it was going to do. Maybe they get people kicking off all the time or something. But yeah, that was a bit naff, wasn't it? And then there was a few other things.
It was actually because of safety reasons, didn't they?
Yeah, he said it was due to a previous incident last summer. Yeah. So he said, we've had previous incidents last summer, so they've changed the rules. And I was like, okay, but saying 10 as an age is to me, it's neither here nor there, because I've seen very small 10-year-olds, and then you get 10-year-olds that look like they're 16. So yeah. Anyway, so there was other things as well. So like their system there, if you've been and you've used this system, you'll know that you go up the exit queue and you wait up the exit, which obviously then means that you've then got all the crowds of people coming off the rides who are all very excited and kind of screaming because they're excited. So if you've got a neurodivergent child in itself, you've got a crowd moving towards you who are screaming excited. So that doesn't work. However, you kind of take the punches. So we went up the exit queues and we just prepared her, like stood to the side, stood in front of her. And then it's like they would just ignore you that you're standing there, and was like, do you know that you've got this service? Like, are you aware that this service is supposed to be used? Because they would literally, like, an entire queue would go down and you'd still be stood there. So then the girl then said to me, well, have you got a return time? I said, well, no, we've been stood here for 20 minutes and you haven't given me a return time. And she was like, oh, well, you're supposed to stand here for as long as you would have stood on the other side. And I was like, why would we stand here for that long? That the whole point is that we struggle with queuing. So surely we would come back. They didn't call it return time. I'm saying that because of Disney. I was like, surely you would have wrote it down as soon as we arrived and we would have come back when we was ready for that time. We've now stood here for that whole 20 minutes and we're still not on the ride. And then I pointed to like a man who was opposite us. And at that point, he was the next person to get on the ride. And I said, he was behind me when I started walking up your entrance queue to ask where to queue for this service. I said, so we would have been the people in front of him, which would have meant we've just been on this ride. And she's like, oh, well, I've got to give you a 20-minute return time. I was like, we've been here for 20 minutes. There was like this bit of a squabble, wasn't there? And then the staff changed over. So as soon as the staff changed over, the girl was like, how long have you been stood there? And I said, 20 minutes. So she went, oh, you come on next then. So then she let us on. But had the staff not have changed over, I think that would have been a bit of a, we probably had to go back to the customer service, wouldn't we? Because she was being really funny with us.
It's annoying. It's like communication is seriously key. And it's like when people don't communicate with each other, it really does affect your experience. And it's really annoying because I was like, there's no point in even standing here because you might as well have just gone in the normal queue. But that's the whole point of the system. But yeah, we passed on the feedback, and I don't think we will be going back next year anyway. We want to go maybe Thorpe Park or something next year.
Yeah, I think we'll do a big one soon,
I do
won't
feel
we?
bad though, because over the years, obviously my mum's been the one to go on with Lenny when she's not been big enough. And now that Lenny's big enough, mum doesn't go on all these thrill rides. She'll just be there.
But I think
waiting.
Like the reason that we do it is because it's a tradition from your family, isn't it? It's something you always did growing up. Every summer you always went there. So as a group and as a family, you always did that. So as then the grandchildren have come along and then we've gone with the grandchildren, grandma's then loved going on the rides with them because they're little whilst we go on the big rides. And the older they've got, the less she's been able to do that. And she's kind of been clinging on to Lenny being little so that she could do like the carousel and like the bumper cars and like the smaller rides with Lenny. And this year Lenny was having none of it. She's like, no grandma, I'm going on the big rides. So then your mum just stood around all day. So she was just holding bags all day. So she paid to be there, paid for a wristband and hardly went on anything, like maybe two rides. She doesn't mind, but it's still tight when you pay all that money. Yeah, she probably doesn't mind. She probably enjoys watching from the outside and watching them have fun, but also she's paid the money to be there.
Yeah.
So we have said that next year, if grandma does want to come with us, that's not a problem, but we'll probably do something like Thorpe Park or what's the other one I've not done?
Chessington?
I've never done Chessington either, yeah. Or we could probably do somewhere like Alton Towers, but I don't think Lenny would be big enough for Alton Towers yet, so I'm not sure. That's
more up north, isn't it, Alton Towers?
Yeah, probably.
Up
north, Midlands.
Park and Chessington are more
south, yeah, definitely.
I used to go there as a kid, so that'll bring back memories.
Yeah, I've never been to either of them. I used to do Gulliver's World, Camelot.
Camelot? Is that still there?
No, it's been shut down now. It was kind of like knights, like Knights of the Round themed. Everything was like castles.
Oh.
It was really good actually. There was actually a live jousting show, like horsemen that used to joust. Yeah, knock each other off horses. Yeah, sorry, like I said that like so, like you know what that means.
Actually, jousting, the real thing.
Yeah, but and then Alton Towers if we was lucky, like if they had a discount day, or my mum might have paid for it. But yeah,
Drayton Manor, we did that a few years ago as well.
We did, yeah.
For Mina's birthday.
I like Drayton Manor.
Yeah,
it's smaller and less busy. We got round it in one day, whereas some of the other ones you can't even get everything done because they're too big.
There's not as many big rides there, is there? I think there was one good roller coaster. I don't remember them being that many.
I can't remember any big ones, to be honest. I just remember being in like, it was like a Thomas Land, was it? Is that there?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then last time we did Alton Towers, we just did the CBeebies bit. And then we did like a couple of the slightly bigger rides because no one was big enough.
Isn't it, how long the queues are in like,
CBeebies
tiny little rides like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like 90 minutes or something for a
30-second ride.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I remember the Eagle Piggle ride where you go around on that like little boat.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like an hour wait queue, like ridiculously long.
Wow.
You go around a little boat and get off. Yeah. Anyway, so we've gone a little bit off topic there. So then, back end of the school holidays. So we went on holiday on the 16th.
No.
No what? 16th of August. 26th.
Florida.
26th of August. Sorry.
Confused me then.
My bad. 26th of August, we went to the airport, but we flew on the 27th.
Yeah, Charlotte and James came to us the night before, didn't they? Because they
on
live
the 25th,
up north, so they drove down to ours, and then that night there was actually like a beer festival close by, and we all went there for a few drinks, obviously the night before to start the holiday off. Then, like Levi said, we drove to the airport, and that was actually quite smooth, wasn't it? We just left our car at the airport parking, and then we got a shuttle across to the airport, and we stayed at the hotel at the airport. So that was really smooth. Oh, and we dropped our bags off the night before. We did the twilight drop-off.
Yeah. So I'd say everything up to that point went very smoothly.
It's the first time we did it, isn't it?
Yeah, the journey. So we travelled to Gatwick. So we flew from Gatwick and we travelled to a halfway point to meet Becky's mum because Becky's mum had taken Lenny to the theatre the day before as a birthday gift. It wasn't near her birthday, but it was something they was doing together. They'd gone to London on the Sunday. So then on the Monday, Becky's mum drove Lenny to us, obviously, so we could take her on holiday. And we met halfway. We ate at a pub. That was nice. The food was really good. I would do that again. I would go back to that place. I can't remember it, so I can't recommend it, but it was very nice.
Nag's Head, I think it was.
Yeah, the Nag's Head, but there's probably loads of Nag's Heads all over the I can't remember. I don't know where it was. So then we carried on the drive to the airport, Gatwick Airport. But we actually stayed at somewhere called Coppell Parking, which was like a park and ride type service. So I'd say it was about 20 minutes away from the airport.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you did have to get a bus to this terminal.
Yeah, but it was very smooth. So you drove your car into kind of like a little lot, like a little small parking lot at the front that maybe had spaces for 15, 20 cars. You went into the reception area, take all your own bags out your car and stuff, hand over your key, show them your booking confirmation. They kept the key there. And then a bus arrives, like a little shuttle type bus. The guy was really helpful, helped us to get the case on and stuff. And then the shuttle takes you directly to the airport. We did the twilight bag drop that BA offer at Gatwick. I don't know if other airlines offer it, but I know that BA do. As long as your flight is before 1 p.m. the next day, which I thought was very good because usually it's for very early morning flights. So before 1 p.m. was actually quite good. We got into the shuttle, got into the airport, walked straight through to BA. There was not another person there doing the twilight bag drop. So it was literally, imagine how busy the airport is when you drop your bags off in the morning when you're checking in. Nobody there. We walked straight to the front.
That made me feel so anxious though, because I was like, please tell me that he's going to get on the flight.
This is a real service.
I'm not just dropping my bag off somewhere.
But that was really easy. There was 2 guys there.
That was really, really nice. Actually.
Yeah, there was about 20 minutes off finishing their shift, so you could tell they was ready for the end of the night because I then asked them for the children's passports that you can use on the plane. And like kids are supposed to get like a little goodie bag with BA, which they don't advertise because they obviously don't want to pay to give them out, but they are. It's a service that they do. So I asked them for 3 of those, and they said, "Oh, we've not got any. They're out of stock. It's because it's late at night. They've all gone today. If you want those, come back tomorrow." And I was like, "I'm not going to go back tomorrow just to go and collect these bags. It's fine. We've got plenty for them to do." And then he said, "You need a tag for your pushchair." And I was like, "Okay, can I have the tag?" And he's like, "Oh, security reasons, because you're taking the pushchair with you, we can't give you the tag." And I was like, "Okay, so what does that mean?" He was like, "You need to come back to the accessibility desk tomorrow morning and do it then." So even though we'd made the effort to go the night before to be able to do the bag drop, we still had to queue up again the next morning to get the tag for the buggy. I then queued up the accessibility queue. The police dogs came round, which terrified half the people in the queue, and the queue itself wasn't much shorter than the normal queue anyway. To get to the front of the queue and be told, "Oh no, they could have given you this tag yesterday. I'm not sure why they told you that." So I was like, the whole reason we did that is so I wouldn't have to have my neurodivergent children here queuing, and yet we've been misinformed. So that disgruntled me a little bit on the morning of our flight. It was a bit annoying, wasn't it? However, from where BA is in the Gatwick terminal, we was the South terminal. We had to get a shuttle over to the North terminal, which was very easy to do. Again, you didn't even have to leave the airport to do it. It took about 10 minutes. You step outside the door from the North terminal and the Premier Inn was right there.
Yeah.
And it was huge. It was really good.
Yeah, it was all self-check-in, wasn't it, on all the computers, and literally did it yourself. And then we had a family room and like just squeezed 2 of the beds together. And our bed was huge, wasn't it? And then the kids all had their showers, had a bath, put the Tony's box on, and they was like really good at going to bed, weren't they? Because they was like so excited the next day. And obviously we'd had a long day travelling as well. And then you went down to the bar and bought us both a beer up, didn't you?
Yeah, and the bar in there was really nice. It was very busy because obviously everyone's drinking because we're British and we like to drink before a holiday. So the bar itself was busy, but the service was fast. There was a Costa still open at about, what time would you say that was?
That chocolate muffin was amazing.
I'd say by that point it was like 9, half 9, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Costa was still open, still serving. Becky wanted something sweet, so I got her a muffin.
Melt in the middle chocolate muffin.
Oh, it's so good. If I'd have known it was melt in the middle, I would have got myself one, but I didn't. So I'd bought pastries. Who does that? I bought pastries for the next morning. Don't even know why, because we'd paid for breakfast. Yeah, Charlotte and James were there with us. They went into their room. We went into ours. We had a beer. I had a bath. And it was all right. It was nice. The beds were comfy. We got up early. It's funny because we was trying to get hold of Charlotte and James the next morning. None of us had signal. So we went into breakfast and bless them, they was waiting for us to not go and eat breakfast without us. So we sat in the breakfast hall for like, in the restaurant part for like 20 minutes before they even realised we was in there. And they were just sat starving waiting for us.
In the foyer, I thought their alarm hadn't gone off or they'd eaten and already gone to the terminal. I was thinking, are we too late for them? Like, what's gone on? And then bless them, I don't know, I think it must have connected to Wi-Fi. They was like, are you guys down yet? And I think they was panicking that our alarm hadn't gone off.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh my God, so sorry. We had to rush and just demolish a full English breakfast like 6 a.m.
No, we didn't leave the hotel till 7:30. And really, we should have been at the
Earlier,
airport. Yeah, we should have been at the airport by 7:30. So we didn't allow enough time. Well, we did allow enough time. We didn't miss a flight, but there wasn't enough time to comfortably enjoy the airport.
To, like,
it was a rush.
Duty-free and stuff. It was a bit chaotic. And then obviously we couldn't use cash in the airport, or it's just a bit of a stressful experience. But I do think maybe we should do a separate podcast of just Florida where we talk about our schedule and what happened each day in each park and stuff, because
I think
we do have a lot of stories for each day rather
We've been chatting away for a while, haven't we?
It in here. But yeah, we just wanted to say we haven't just quit the podcast, guys. We are still here. We've just had a lot going on. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Yep. Next podcast, we will talk about Florida and then talk about our plans moving forward, what the rest of our year is going to look like.
Yeah, we've got some big updates, guys.
We do have some big updates. We've got a new pet to introduce to you. Yeah, lots of plans. So we'll talk about that in the next podcast. But for now, thank you for listening.
And we'll see you soon.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.